It seems like this year, more than any other, there are a ton of players putting up a lot of points, and in today's video, I'm going to be talking about 5 players who were pretty decent last year, but not really star caliber players, who are really taking that next step into becoming a star in the NHL. So with that being said, let's jump right into the video. Starting off the video with the obvious one, Max Domi of the Montreal Canadiens. Now this Galchenyuk for Domi trade is just looking better and better for the Montreal Canadiens as the year goes on, and it seems like a lot of those trades that we really questioned at the time are really starting to pan out for the Montreal Canadiens. Last year, Domi only 9 goals and 36 assists for 45 points. That was for the Arizona Coyotes, played all 82 games, and this year he already has 5 more goals in just 30 games, and to go along with 17 assists for 31 points. Max Domi has been a superstar caliber player this season so far for the Montreal Canadiens, for a team that is actually very good and very well could make the playoffs, with Max Domi being their best forward. And they have guys like Thomas Tatar, who is obviously helping out. Jonathan Drouin is having a strong season. Brendan Gallagher, Shea Weber just came back and he's playing well. Carey Price is playing well. It seems like a lot of those pieces are coming together for the Montreal Canadiens, and they're actually a very good team this year, but it is all spearheaded by Max Domi. I mean, he's just been a revelation for this team, and he very well could be the star player that the Montreal Canadiens have been looking for a long time. They've never really had a superstar player for a very long time. They've had good players. Max Pacioretty was never really a superstar who can put up 90 to 100 points, but with the pace Max Domi is on this year, he's going to probably break a point per game if he does keep this up, and I really hope he does, because Max Domi is really finding himself in Montreal. Obviously had a bit of a rough start to his career in Arizona, but we all knew the potential this guy had, and he's really showing us this year that he is a star player in the NHL. Next up is another player I'm sure you guys knew was going to be in this video, and that is defenseman Thomas Chabot of the Ottawa Senators. Last year, as a rookie, 63 games played, 9 goals and 16 assists for 25 points. But this year, he is really picking up where Erik Karlsson left off for the Ottawa Senators. 31 games played, 8 goals, 25 assists for 33 points. 2 points over a point per game for a defenseman. Been producing a lot more points this year than Erik Karlsson has been producing for the San Jose Sharks, and I think that comparison is always going to happen between these two, obviously, because Thomas Chabot now is that franchise defenseman for the Ottawa Senators, and this is another team that's kind of overachieving. They have a lot of players having very, very good years. Obviously, Matt Duchene was playing unreal until the injury. Hopefully, he can come back strong from that. Mark Stone has been playing amazing. Ryan Dzingel has been playing great. Obviously, a lot of the guys they got from the San Jose Sharks have been playing well. Chris Tierney, DeMello, obviously Mikhail Bodker. This team is really just playing a lot better than anyone expected. I don't think they're going to make the playoffs, but they're definitely not a pushover and not a team you can just go into this game thinking you're going to walk all over them, because they are a very talented team. Craig Anderson has been playing unbelievable this year. I mean, what is he, around 38 years old now, and it's like he never gets a day off. Craig Anderson has been great, and I think for Ottawa fans, it's really not as bad as it may seem, or as a lot of people made it out to be heading into the season, and Thomas Chabot is definitely becoming a superstar NHL player, or at least a star NHL defenseman this season. Next up, you guys seen him in the thumbnail, San Jose Sharks forward Timo Meier from the Halifax Mooseheads, one of my favorite players in the NHL, just because I'm always a fan of guys that came through the Halifax Mooseheads organization and are really playing at a high level in the NHL. And it seems like coming into this year, most people thought the breakout stars for San Jose could be guys like Kevin Labanc and then obviously Melker Karlsson, but Timo Meier has been unbelievable this season. Last year, 81 games played, 21 goals and 15 assists for 36 points, so we knew he could score 20 goals, but in 29 games this year, he has 16 goals and 14 assists for 30 points. It's looking like Timo Meier definitely could have a 40-goal season this year if he does keep up the pace he's at. Obviously, Joe Pavelski has 20 goals as well. The San Jose Sharks have been scoring. It's kind of just been a matter of keeping pucks out of their own net. And with Martin Jones finally starting to find himself this season, he's been playing well over the past couple of weeks. So it's all looking pretty good in San Jose. A bit of a slow start, but they're definitely picking it up. And when they're playing at their full capability, I definitely would not want to meet this team in the playoffs. The depth is absolutely unreal. And you see that with Timo Meier, 1 point over a point per game. He only has 6 less points than he had all of last season, and he's only 29 games into the year, so we definitely could have another superstar on our hands coming through the San Jose Sharks organization, and I don't really think anyone expected this coming into the year. Last year, I kind of expected him to just keep that up for the majority of his career, be a guy who can give you 20 goals and 50 to 40 points, but this year, it's looking like he could give them around 40 goals and 70 points, which is a lot more than I'm pretty sure anyone expected heading into the season. Next up is Kasperi Kapanen of the Toronto Maple Leafs, and I know a lot of people are probably going to disagree on this one and say he's just a product of playing with Austin Matthews, but I don't think so. He's a very skilled player, and yes, it does help playing with Austin Matthews, but I think Mike Babcock is actually going to keep those two together and play William Nylander with Nazem Kadri. I'm sure as the season progresses and towards playoff time, William Nylander and Matthews will play in the same line, but I would love to see a line of Kapanen, Nylander, and Matthews. I think that would be unreal. Obviously, Kapanen was pretty much the big trade piece when they did trade Phil Kessel to the Pittsburgh Penguins. And Kapanen last year, 38 games played, 7 goals, 2 assists, 9 points. A decent year. He was in the minus plus minus wise, but this year, 30 games played, 11 goals and 10 assists for 21 points. An unreal season so far for Kasperi Kapanen. He can kill penalties. He's got a lot of skill, great hands, unreal speed, and playing with Austin Matthews, that really does complement him well. And I know a lot of you, like I said, are going to disagree with this and think he just plays with talented guys, but I really do think Kasperi Kapanen would be a very, very solid top 6 forward on pretty much any team in the NHL, and a lot of teams would like to have him, and for the Toronto Maple Leafs, this just makes them even that much more scarier because they just got Nylander back, and now you have Kapanen breaking out into a star level player at the NHL, and that is really just crazy because the weapons that this team has is really endless when you go down their roster. Another team that I definitely would not want to meet in the playoffs when they're playing to their full capability. It's going to be interesting to see what happens with the contract situations, as obviously I think Kasperi Kapanen is going to need a pretty big pay raise as well. It's going to be interesting to see, but until then, let's just enjoy all these talented players on the same team while it lasts, and hopefully it does last, because Toronto has had a rough go of it over the past decade, but now they're really a contender in the NHL, and Kapanen has been a pretty pleasant surprise this year. And the last player in today's video is Elias Lindholm of the Calgary Flames. And this is another guy, a lot of you will probably say, no, it's just because he plays with Gaudreau and Monahan. But Elias Lindholm is a fantastic NHL player. And the Calgary Flames, I think, are definitely liking the trade that they did make with the Carolina Hurricanes, because Elias Lindholm is the perfect player to play with Monahan and Gaudreau. He's a very skilled guy, definitely a lot more skilled than Michael Ferland was last year. And last year for Lindholm, 81 games played, 16 goals, 28 assists for 44 points. And this year in just 31 games, he has 16 goals, the same amount he had all of last year. 18 assists for 34 points, just 10 points less of what he had last year, and we're only 31 games into the season. Lindholm 3 points over a point per game, and I definitely think this is something that will be sustained over the year, especially if that top line stays healthy, because in a couple of years, or maybe even next year, I think this is a line that is probably going to get talked a lot more in with the guys like McKinnon, Landeskog, and Rantanen, and the Bergeron, Pastrnak, Marchand line as one of the best lines in the NHL, because they have been deadly, and what a year the Flames are having. Matt Tkachuk is a guy I consider putting on this list as well. He's been unbelievable, but pretty much just all the forwards on the Calgary Flames team, except maybe James Neal, are having very, very solid seasons, and Elias Lindholm, in my opinion, is really breaking out into a star in the NHL, and that is really what the Calgary Flames got him for, and it's been a very, very solid run for them so far this season, and hopefully they can keep it up heading into the playoffs, because Calgary is a team I really do want to see make it. They're very fun to watch, a lot of skilled guys, and another fan base that haven't really had too much to cheer for over the past decade, and they really have something special going on there this year. So that is going to wrap up the video. I really hope you guys did enjoy, and if you didn't agree with me on these, don't go hating. Just make sure you guys let me know down in the comments section who you think are some players that are really breaking out into stars at the NHL level this season. And with that being said, I hope you guys all enjoyed the video. If you did, please make sure to drop a like on it and subscribe to the channel for daily NHL content, and I will see you guys all in the next video.